There is a place on Earth where it is against the law to die. "650 miles from the North Pole, if you become terminally ill or your body begins to fail, the government puts you on a plane and removes you from the island. There are no cemeteries here that accept new burials, and no maternity ward to give birth, because deep inside the frozen earth, the ground refuses to let anything decompose." To the outside world, this sounds like extreme island tyranny, but Svalbard operates under a legal reality unlike anywhere else on Earth. In 1920, world powers signed an extraordinary international treaty declaring that citizens of more than 45 signatory nations have the absolute legal right to live, work, and settle here, without a visa, without a green card, and without asking permission. It is a completely borderless territory, governed by a legal system found nowhere else on the planet. Here, polar bears outnumber human beings. The sun disappears completely for 4 months every year, and inside a mountain of solid rock sits humanity's ultimate vault of last resort. This is the story of Svalbard, the legal anomaly at the top of the world where 2,000 people live, and where no one is allowed to die. If stories like this are what keeps you watching, the hidden laws, the forgotten places, the things governments would rather you didn't ask about, this channel finds one every week. Consider subscribing before we go further. The capital of this realm is Longyearbyen, a cluster of brightly painted wooden houses sitting in a valley of dark tundra where nothing touches the ground. Every single home, school, and shop is built on massive wooden stilts because beneath the surface sits permafrost, a layer of soil and ice hundreds of feet deep that has remained frozen for thousands of years. If a building rested directly on the earth, its indoor heat would melt the permafrost below, causing the ground to liquefy and the house to sink into the mud. In 1950, local authorities realized the permafrost was doing something far more terrifying when they noticed that bodies buried in the local graveyard decades earlier were not decomposing. This is now one continuous run. The stilts explanation and the 1950 discovery are connective, factual, and flow better as one uninterrupted thought, matching the reference pattern. The pause now lands right before the actual dramatic reveal below, giving it more weight, not less. 80 years after 7 miners died in Longyearbyen during the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, scientists exhumed their bodies and found live traces of the influenza virus perfectly frozen inside their lungs. To prevent ancient pathogens or lethal viruses from remaining in the soil indefinitely, the government banned burials entirely, making dying here officially illegal. To understand why anyone stays in a place where you cannot be born or buried, you have to understand the geopolitical bargain made a century ago following World War I. The 1920 Svalbard Treaty granted Norway sovereignty over the archipelago, but Article 3 guaranteed equal access to citizens of all signatory nations. Today, whether you are from the United States, Japan, Thailand, or Afghanistan, you can land in Svalbard, find a job, and live indefinitely without a visa, work permit, or immigration interview. It sounds like an open border paradise, except for one brutal caveat. Under local law, you are only allowed to stay if you can support yourself. There is no welfare state here for non-Norwegians, no social security, no unemployment checks, and no housing subsidies. If you lose your job, or if you can no longer afford shelter, the governor of Svalbard deports you on the next flight to the mainland, making this a society strictly for the able-bodied. In late October, the sun drops below the horizon in Longyearbyen and does not return until late February. For 111 days, the archipelago enters total darkness, not dusk or twilight, but pure, pitch-black night. Streetlights stay illuminated 24 hours a day. Residents check their watches to know if it is noon or midnight, and psychological fatigue sets in as the mind struggles to process an endless night. Yet residents describe this brutal darkness as hypnotic, because in the absolute dark of the high Arctic, the sky provides its own light. Green and violet ribbons of the northern lights ripple directly above the rooftops at midday, while the town comes together in cozy coffee shops lit by candlelight. Isolation turns strangers into family, because out in the dark tundra surrounding the town, something else is watching. Cross the physical threshold marked by the town's famous road sign, a black polar bear silhouetted against a yellow warning triangle, and you enter a realm where 3,000 polar bears outnumber humans. By law, anyone stepping beyond town limits is legally required to carry a high-powered rifle, yet polar bears are a strictly protected species. If a bear attacks and you fire your weapon, the governor treats every shooting as a potential crime scene, and if investigators find you provoked the animal or failed to retreat, you can face criminal prosecution and lose your right to remain in Svalbard entirely. Rifles are carried as an absolute last resort, with residents firing flare guns first to scare predators away before a trigger ever needs to be pulled. In Svalbard, humans do not rule the ecosystem. We are temporary guests, walking through a realm governed by ice and instinct. But the wildlife isn't the only thing this island refuses to let go of. About 30 miles away, an entire Soviet town still sits exactly as its last resident left it. Just outside Longyearbyen, jutting out from the side of a frozen sandstone mountain, sits a futuristic concrete structure illuminated by turquoise fiber optic light. This is the Svalbard Global Seed Vault, humanity's ultimate biological insurance policy. Buried 400 feet inside solid rock, it holds over 1.2 million seed samples from almost every country on Earth. Svalbard offers three conditions found nowhere else on Earth: geopolitical stability, freedom from tectonic activity, and natural permafrost. Even if all power grids fail, and even if climate change warms the mountain, the surrounding rock remains naturally frozen, keeping the seeds viable for hundreds of years. In 2015, when the seed bank in Aleppo was destroyed during the Syrian civil war, researchers made the first ever withdrawal from the Svalbard Vault to restore their crops, proving that this frozen outpost is keeping the world alive. Because of the 1920 Svalbard Treaty, Norway is not the only nation with a presence here, and just as the frozen earth refuses to decompose human remains, it refuses to let history decay. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union exercised its treaty rights to build Pyramiden, a model mining town named after the pyramid-shaped mountain looming above it. Over 1,000 Soviet coal miners lived here, enjoying grand concert halls, indoor swimming pools, and a bronze bust of Lenin looking out over the glacier. In October 1998, when coal reserves ran dry, the Russian government ordered Pyramiden evacuated, leaving miners to depart within days. Because of sub-zero temperatures and lack of humidity, Pyramiden has not rotted, standing as a perfectly preserved Soviet time capsule, frozen in ice, where time has completely stopped. In mid-April, the pendulum swings to the opposite extreme as the sun rises above the horizon and does not set again until late August. For 4 full months of continuous sunlight, blackout curtains become essential for survival, while wildlife works around the clock. But this polar paradise is warming up to 6 times faster than the global average, with glaciers retreating by tens of meters every year. Winter rain freezes into solid ice layers that prevent reindeer from reaching grass below, while the very permafrost that keeps buildings standing is beginning to thaw. In most places on Earth, a town is built on generations of families buried in local soil. But in Svalbard, no one belongs to the soil. The average resident stays for only 7 years, forming a temporary community of 2,000 people from over 50 nations, bound together by extreme isolation. Yet those who leave speak of Svalbard fever, a deep longing to return to the silence of the Arctic night, where life is stripped down to its barest elements. Svalbard is a contradiction written into international law, a borderless land where no one is allowed to be born and where no one is allowed to die. It holds humanity's seeds for tomorrow while preserving the frozen echoes of yesterday. In a world obsessed with boundaries, this frozen rock stands as a reminder that we are all just temporary visitors on this earth. If you value investigative stories that explore the world's most impossible places, consider subscribing to Hidden Terrains. I will see you in the next one.